What's up, guys? Max Tech Toybox here, and me and 5 of my family members purchased Teslas within the last year. Here's a couple of things that we wish we would have known before making our purchase. So, the number one thing that we wish we would have known before getting our Teslas is Tesla's customer service experience. Now, we thought that we knew about Tesla's customer service experience. However, since the beginning of 2022, the customer service has made a complete 180. Just for example, a few of us have had to have some service appointments, and here's the things that we experienced. Before, when you were making your service appointments, there were more options that were set up so that Tesla would actually come out to see you. However, it's getting harder and harder to find any sort of service appointments where they will come out and see you, and you have to drive in to see them. Now, of course, the biggest problem with this is the same reason why Tesla instituted this mobile service. It's because there's not many Tesla dealerships. So because of this, that means that you have to drive usually a very long distance in order to get your Tesla service. So that's one big knock. The other thing is, once you do drop off your Tesla, and I do say do drop off your Tesla, because once you make an appointment now, because there are more Teslas available, because there's more people driving around in Teslas, there's not the infrastructure that can take care of these Teslas if you do have service appointments. And again, this is an hour experience. So what tends to happen is you may make an appointment, and instead of being there for maybe an hour or less, maybe hour and a half, you have to drop off your Tesla. It doesn't matter what time you make that service appointment for. If you make it for 9:15 in the morning or at the earliest appointment, they will tell you, well, we don't know how long this will take, and so we recommend that you drop off the vehicle. Of course, you can wait, but they recommend that you drop off the vehicle. And to compensate for that, they give you Uber points, because they no longer give you loaners. Now, this is a huge misstep in the wrong direction, and the vast majority of us believe that this is because Tesla has just been trying to push out inventory. So because of this, all of the models that they even had on the inside of the dealerships, anything that they had on the showroom floor, they're all gone, or they have been gone, at least. Like I said, this may vary where you are, and now that we're entering the tail end of 2022, there could be a little bit of a difference with this, because now they're sitting on inventory. And there's a couple of things wrong with the Uber points, in my opinion. First things first, if you're going to offer Uber points, well, first of all, you shouldn't even be offering Uber points, because most people, at least even just the people in my family, you're working. You can't really just drop off your car and then expect to go sit around and lounge somewhere. You're not working from home. If you're working from home, cool, I can understand it, but most people are not. You have errands and things to run, and a $50 Uber credit is not going to be the way that you can get your errands run, right? So you're just putting the customer at a huge inconvenience. But if you are going to offer these Uber credit, Uber points, the customer should be able to pick what sort of experience they want. You're limited at what type of vehicle that you actually can pick and choose from, which is kind of silly, right? If you get a $50 credit, let's just say, for example, and let's say you get a $50 credit and you live down the street, it's not far at all, but you know what, you want to ride out in style, so you want to get an Uber Lux or something like that. You can't. You can only get like the basic Uber vehicle that is available. So just a huge misstep in our opinion, and we're hoping that as now Tesla has more inventory, they will get back to allowing loaners. Now, I will say at the beginning of the year, this was not the case. One of my family members did have to drop off their vehicle, actually two of them, and they both got loaners. They got a Tesla Model S, and I believe the other one got a Model 3. No issues whatsoever, but around February, March, sometime around then, they stopped loaners, and all of the dealerships and customer service representatives said that that is not something that they do. One representative said that my family member did not own the vehicle long enough to qualify for a loaner, which made no sense, because the previous family, both of the people that got loaners, this was like within 2 weeks of them getting the vehicle, where there was something that happened upon delivery and they needed to take it back so that it can get fixed, and again they got loaners. So just a huge misstep in our opinion. So that was only point number one. Moving on to point number two, rising charging costs. So at-home charging is fine as we enter the climate of whatever climate we are in currently. If we are in a recession, that's not really up for debate on this channel, but the cost of everything is increasing. So even though the cost of charging at home is increasing with the light bill, it's marginal at best. The biggest thing is that the superchargers, their prices have increased. And again, this is likely due to the recession, but either way, it's a big inconvenience for folks. So who does this really fall on? Well, most people, I would argue, probably have at-home charging, and so therefore it doesn't really affect them. But if you are someone who does not own your home, or if you rent but you don't have the ability to install a charger, or if you rent in a apartment complex or a condo, again, you can't charge, this supercharger or the supercharging network is really how you get all of your juice. And so now you're paying more. It was just an article that I was reading earlier that said that the cost of supercharging had risen 4 times what it was just a couple of years ago. I think 4 times in about 4 years. So even in this year, it's gone up about 35%. So again, for most people, this won't be a problem, but for those that rent and that can't have a charger installed at home, it's a big inconvenience. And then of course, your road trippers, right? You're traveling around, going wherever for vacation. Now you have to pay more for charging. So it's, like I said, it's not a deal breaker, but it is something that you need to pay attention to when making your purchase, because kind of the whole, I don't want to say the whole reason, but one of the big reasons or pluses was that this was supposed to be cheaper than the alternative in gasoline. And as we have seen that as gas prices have increased, so has the cost of charging. Moving on to point number 3, the subscription requirements. So to take full advantage of the Tesla user experience, a connectivity package is recommended. Now, again, this is not directly from Tesla. This is really what we have come up with ourselves. But for things like Sentry Mode, it's pretty much required. Although I understand that there's a need for internet to provide this, the Tesla vehicles all come with some basic internet. So it's kind of rudimentary to me that you have to pay for a subscription service to unlock a feature that's already included in the car. And so for those of you that don't know, what Sentry Mode is it's essentially your alarm system. So if someone gets too close to your car, it'll chirp, beep, the little screen will come on and let you know that, the car Sentry Mode is activated, but you actually can't access that camera. Also, if your alarm was to go off, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, you will not get a notification. The only time you'll get a notification is if you have this, the connectivity package, which again is kind of stupid. And again, to access any of the cameras remotely from your phone, you have to have Sentry Mode. You have to have this connectivity package. And again, the Tesla comes with basic internet. This is how they do things like some of the over-the-air updates, small and minor ones, and how it gets driving directions. So to be able to play videos at charging stations, connect your premium streaming service, which also comes at a cost. And don't forget now about that the new feature where you can connect to the MyQ garage door opener, which also is a subscription. You have to pay for this connectivity package. Now, you're already paying so much for the vehicle, and it just seems like now they're trying to nickel and dime for everything else. Between the internet connectivity package, which I believe is like $10 a month, then let's say if you have Spotify, which is another $10 a month, or if you have Apple Music, whatever, now that that's available, another $10 a month, and then the MyQ subscription, which I think is like $45 for the year, whatever the case may be. Still, that stuff, it adds up, and you're already paying, upwards $70,000 if you get a Tesla Model Y Performance or the Model S, X. Like, you're paying a lot of money for these cars, and you still have to pay for all of these subscription fees. It just doesn't make sense. Now again, it's not required, and you can always connect your phone hotspot to the vehicle for things like streaming movies during charging stations, but you can't get the Sentry Mode with this. Even if your car is in a garage and connected to Wi-Fi, you still don't get the benefit of having Sentry Mode activated, which to me makes absolutely no sense, because if it's connected to Wi-Fi and your phone's connected to Wi-Fi, why can't you connect to the phone's cameras? It doesn't make any sense at all. The next point, and the last one that we will speak about, is the infotainment system. Now, I will, and it can be argued, that Tesla's infotainment system is probably the second only to Android Auto and CarPlay. but it is second to Android Auto and CarPlay. The lack of Android Auto and CarPlay is mind-boggling to us. It would be so much easier if you had CarPlay or Android Auto to replace the Tesla's UI. Because of all the reasons that I just previously touched on with the subscription requirements, this is probably why it has not happened and why it won't happen. Because if your phone was the middleman for things like Spotify streaming or streaming YouTube music or streaming Netflix or any of those things, well, that means that you wouldn't have to pay for this connectivity package, and you would only, of course, you would still have to have the Spotify subscription service and Apple Play Music and whatever, but Tesla doesn't get a piece of that. So I do believe that this is likely the reason why Android Auto and CarPlay is not integrated, because nearly any other EV has Android Auto and CarPlay within their UI. So I just can't think of any other reason why they don't have it available. Sure, you could argue that with the trip planning through Tesla's UI, it's a little bit more straightforward, but I really don't see why Tesla couldn't find a way to integrate Google Maps with their UI, or even if they just offered a whole separate Tesla app specifically for that. That just seems like that would be a lot less work than what they're currently doing. And that doesn't mention Tesla's voice command. Tesla's voice command is actually pretty good, but it's not the best. And of course, it's not going to be better than Google and or Siri. Just being able to ask Google random questions to get information is just super convenient. Super convenient. You just say your hot word, or you press the button and you ask a question. It's not just about opening compartments or launching this on the car. It's just a full user experience. And I think that to be fully integrated, I understand that it may take a little bit of work so that you could really get everything working with each other, but I just think that it would offer the best user experience. So those are the top 4 points that me and my family members wish that we had known prior to making our purchase through Tesla. And that is not to say that we didn't know about some of these things. However, our opinions on them have changed, right? For example, the customer service experience, that was actually part of the reason why most of us chose to get the Tesla, because we heard all the good things about it. And it just sort of made a complete 180, and it has not impressed us, and it actually has upset most of us whenever we have had to interact with anyone from customer service. So that's something that Tesla definitely needs to work on and fix. Of course, we knew that charging costs were increasing, right? Because if you're talking about the Model S, before supercharging was included, and so now we're having to pay for it. So, and again, if you're comparing this to the cost of gasoline, it's still cheaper, right, to charge your car at home than having to fill up your vehicle if you had a gasoline powered engine. But as things continue to trend and go up, does this mean that eventually it will reach the cost of gasoline? Hopefully not. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But if you're trying to get more people into the ecosystem, that means that you have to try and keep these costs low. And of course, we knew everything about the infotainment system. I think the one thing that we really didn't know anything about was all of the different subscription requirements, and that you needed that in order to get access to things like Sentry Mode. So this is Max Tech Toy Box. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I should have more content for you guys coming soon within the new year. You guys take care, and until you see me again, stay safe. Peace.